Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. It's lap 8 of 27 of the Monaco Grand Prix. I've had to freeze my screen quickly, but that doesn't really matter. Because here's what you need to know. Terziak's currently leading the Monaco Grand Prix. Flying Scotsman by name and certainly by nature. He's leading by almost 6 whole seconds. Unbelievable stuff. J-Lane's in P2. What on earth kind of a race have I missed? J-Lane's in P2. Thanassi's basically noshing his diffuser around Raskas, which is a disgusting thought. Championship leader Milo is in 4th place. My husband Magico's in 5th. You cannot write the script of this race any better if you tried. Magico is currently in 5th. Dirk's in 6th. Buck 57 picking up the second of his two numbers rather, should I say, and is in 7th, although they both have penalties to their name. Stark in 8th. Vulcan's in 9th, although has just pitted. Tarkel's in 10th. Timmelele's in P11. I've no idea why. There's a yellow flag for reasons unbeknownst to me, but Buck 20, having done 2 pit stops in only 9 laps, is probably not a good thing. So the gap now between Terziak and Jimothy Lane is 8.5 seconds. Terziak came 2nd at the Monaco Grand Prix last season. Let me think, who won that race? Oh yeah, it was me. I won that race. It was a great time. Terziak, though, a valiant and commendable P2. And he's taken that fuel and he's gritting his teeth, eating that horse, and is currently P1 by an absolutely monumental margin. As J-Lane losing more and more time. However, at a track where it's already immensely difficult to overtake at, he will have no problems. I say that, and Buck 57's got past Dirk, so it's clearly not impossible to overtake at. I'm a fool. Thanassi and Milo deciding that, yes, it is impossible to overtake, so we're going to let the strategy source take over this particular seasoned race. My husband is now in P3. It's the greatest day of my life. Where do Thanassi and Milo filter out in all of this? That is the question. Hopefully in some clear track. They should have judged it to perfection. Jamie Tarquin is not that far back. Thanassi's not turned his limiter off nearly as soon as he would have hoped, and it's going to be a race up the hill. Jamie Tarquin actually hits the outside wall. A huge tank slapper for the Red Bull driver. It's a drag race up towards the casino square. Jamie Tarquin has to settle in behind. Milo almost going around the outside of the Aston Martin driver. But look at Jamie Tarquin pushing Thanassi through Casino Square, not trying his luck and betting it all on black because it would come out very, very much red. And by red, I mean in the wall with egg on your face. He's not going to end up with that particular eventuality. He is going to end up in egg on his face in one regard, though. He's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Naughty sausage. Up at the front, 11 seconds now the gap. Good grief, Terziak's having a time of his life. No idea if he was on pole position. In fact, while it's all happening, Milo and Jamie Tarquin, there were moves going on there. No idea if the Aston Martin cut the chicane in order to try and retain his position. But that seemed extremely close. And that battle will certainly not be done. The score will not be settled as Jamie Tarquin sweeps into Raskas. A flick of the steering wheel, and my computer is a piece of Back to the action, though, on the track. It is Terziak in the lead, apparently. Oh, Magico's in P2. This is the greatest race in history. Like I say, scripts have not been written better. J-Lane, though, went into the pits, but is now down in P11. Deary, deary me. And in all of that, Timmelele, I was saying he's languishing in P11. My mistake. He's now up to P9 and closing in on this train of cars. No idea what lap he peeled into the pit lane. However, it's not particularly a poor situation. He is right on the tail end of having a good scrap with the championship leader Milo, who he himself is looking to pile on the pressure on Jamie Tarquin. Looks to the inside, shows the nose, and that is hyper aggressive from the championship leader, trying to force Jamie into his own mistake, but the man who rode on a super yacht at this very track in real life. It is true. I'm genuinely being serious. As there's tussling between Buck 57 and Magico, no, there isn't. My husband pits. And where will he filter out? It will be fresh mediums on the Mercedes wagon, and my husband will go to the end of this race, and I'm very proud of him. I am very proud of him indeed. Now the gap at the front, for perspective, is now 21.1 seconds. Between Terziak and his next closest challenger. It's an unbelievable showing so far. I'd love to know what happened the first 8 laps. Maybe I'll be able to source some clips for you all to figure out exactly what is going on. A bit of a lock-up. Cutting the Novel chicane. Excuse me, that's not Raskas. What are you, blind? It's clearly the Novel chicane. And Buck57 actually catching Terziak on this lap. But equally, I doubt Terziak is going to be pushing particularly hard. He's going to want to get as little warnings as possible. And he's peeling into the pit lane. Here he goes. The Ferrari driver, one of the Scarlet cars, is absolutely... was providing a sensational slobber knocker with himself. Although it is garnering the lead of the race by quite some margin. The other Ferrari down in P13 of Slam. Feels like I haven't seen Slam in ages. Welcome back, Slam. It's great to see you. And now that I've removed the spectator menu, it's even better. Welcome along, sunshine. Derek Dirkleton up into P2. Terziak's going to come out of the pit lane, though. And ladies and gentlemen, he's retained the lead of the race. That's how much of a margin the Ferrari driver has had. And now he has fresher tyres to boot. Look at that. Dirk and Stark on, well, they're on 12-lap mediums. That's obvious, isn't it? But Thanasi on 3-lap-old mediums, as is Milo. 5-lap-old hards for Jamie Tarquin and Timmelele. So actually, Timmelele, well, he's pit actually quite recently, so I thought he pit ages ago. That's my fault entirely. We shall move on and past that little foible. What foibles are in Terziak's race? The answer is absolutely none. Almost halfway through the Monte Carlo mincing, and Terziak is making mincemeat of the rest of the grid. He has ground them to a pulp, which is ironic because meat can't be ground to a pulp, but you know what I'm saying. He's got a 6.5-second cushion overall to Thanasi, who's in 4th place and on 3-lap-old, well, 3-lap fresher tyres. Thanasi's on 3-lap-old tyres. But the freshness of the tyres, that is going to propel Terziak to phenomenal positions. And it could be, if I'm not mistaken, his first race win of the season, as Big Swimmer has a 3-second time penalty. Oh dear. Meanwhile, Stark going for the undercut on Dirkleton. And this could get quite interesting here. By the way, the undercut for Magico has paid off. Buck57 still emerges behind the Mercedes driver. And there is still plenty of points to play for the Mercedes driver and the Mercedes team as a whole. As through goes my husband and Buck57 and Big Swimmer. But 6-lap fresher tyres and softs to boot. It could be an absolute scorching from Stark. We are about to find out. Gap now to Thanasi, almost 10 seconds. That is quite something. Although, to be fair, Thanasi doesn't really have to do anything. Perhaps he feels like P2 is already in the pussycat. That sounded better in my head, but you know what I'm saying. But as now the gap is over 10 seconds. Terziak driving the race of all races round Monte Carlo. Fueled by the fury of losing to me last season. Which is fair enough. To be perfectly honest, that is a completely valid point. Now the gap 11 seconds, surely going for the fastest lap. Crosses the line, it is fastest lap. 1 minute 11.7. Now we'll see how the rest of the grid can respond. Primarily, how Stark can respond on his soft tyres, as he's absolutely hounding the rear end of the AlphaTauri. Going slightly wide though, into the second of the swimming pool chicanes. On board with the Williams driver, and visually you can tell just how much more grip he has, but the exit from Big Swimmer is optimal. And unless Stark goes for a heinous dive down the inside, well, he doesn't, rather sensibly, so Big Swimmer will keep P11 on the road, but there are still opportunities afloat for Stark, as we've just passed the swimming pool complex earlier in the lap, and Big Sam has a little mistake. Either that or he just let Stark through. It looked like he had a slight wobble out of Casino Square. And unfortunately, Big Sam's steering was on square as he darted towards the inside wall. And Stark says, thank you very much, sunshine. Up into P11 I go. And Jamie Tarquin with another 3-second time penalty. Well, half the battle is keeping it in between the white lines. Something that Jamie Tarquin is relatively used to, although he normally... I'm not actually going to say that, never mind. Never mind. I'm going to keep that one off of the airwaves. Thanasi now 13.8 seconds behind Terziak. Although, like I say, I think he probably thinks his battle is now for P2. And he is driving, I can confirm, without glasses as well. Or at least that's what he claimed earlier. He might well be driving without glasses, I'm not sure. Timmelele was so close to the back of Milo there. darting one way and the other, trying to open up any avenue possible, but Milo says, no, thank you, sir. McLaren man puts up a stout defence against the Mercedes Maestro. And so it goes, on to lap 16 now already. Lap 16, it feels like I only started 8 laps ago. Oh, wait, yes, I did. Anything else happening then? Stark is now on the back of this little, I say little train, it's a 3-car train, it's not a huge train at all. The bigger train is now between Dirkleton and Thanasi's now joining the fray, down towards J-Lane in P7, who has now caught up to the back of it. J-Lane driving exceptionally well, it must be said. He seems to always have a knack for driving well at Monaco. Last season he got P4. On my screen it was a P3, but I disconnected, unbeknownst to me. That's ultimately what killed it. Well, what killed my dream of winning a Monaco race and feeling good about it. Instead, I was biting my nails off in the hopes that I had actually won it on a separate lobby. And that was not fun. Thanasi, though, piling on the pressure on Dirkleton. On board with the 2-time championship winner on F123 as Buck 57 has got past my husband. And my husband's been displaced twice. No, the DRS overtake has done it for the Red Bull, man. And now the Williams driver can get to work on El Toro Rosso ahead. Potentially a move brewing into Mirabeau, but Stark says no. That's not happening. And that's a wise decision. Magico may have lost a couple of positions, but it's never over until it's over. These two could well make contact, and then there's a whole kind of palaver that could happen after that. So stay tuned on that one. Vulcan with a 3-second time penalty, although Buck 57 has a penalty of his own. And is 6 point, well, it's now just under 6 seconds behind. But is 6 seconds behind nonetheless. And I think they both have the same number of penalties, so it doesn't matter. Lap number 18, 2/3 of the way through this race. Jamie Tarquin's gone into the pit lane as Buck 57 is in the wall. What on earth's happened there? He's spun round 180 degrees, facing the wrong way. He's reset safely and fairly. As well, Tarquin's in the pits. He had front wing damage. No idea where that's come from, but we know what the ramifications of Buck 57's ram into barrier are, and that's a trip to the pit lane. Or as they call him, Percy It Lane. Onto a fresh set of softs. Nose change, so Voldemort can't be happy for too long. And Jamie Tarquin's pitting means that Mr. Milo, in the McLaren car, is now into P4, provisionally P3 on the road once Dirk makes his stop. But look at that gap. Terziak must be looking behind thinking, oh my god. So this is what it's like. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it's like. Get used to it, my friend. As Dirkleton actually gets displaced. He might well have let Thanasi through. No idea why. I spent so much time talking about how Terziak is, well, absolutely destroying the competition, that I've completely missed the move there. And Dirkleton finally bites the bullet and says, enough is enough. Off of those balked and goosed medium tyres. Jamie Tarquin has another 3-second time penalty. And like I said, people making mistakes is going to bring others into this race, and Magico, who was in P11, now finds himself in a lovely P9, and now P8. Check it. That is fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to say there's some spicy battles brewing and concocting themselves in the cauldron of racing that is Monte Carlo, but it's Monaco, so unfortunately I have a distinct feeling that's not going to happen. But you never know, I'm willing to be surprised here on lap number 19 out of 27. Through Portier they go. On board with the man at the back of this queue, Mr. J-Lane. Was running high up in the podium, well, yeah, he was in the podium places, should I say, as Jamie Tarquin lets Dirkleton go on the softs, and there's a good reason for that. He's lost another piece of his front wing. Voldemort is the happiest man alive, or, well, specimen alive. I'm not sure if you can call him human, or maybe I'm being discriminatory. Either way, I can't get cancelled for saying that, because it's Voldemort. Through the Raskas we go. Milo is piling all sorts of pressure onto Thanasi, and Dirkleton's out of this race. Dirkleton retires at the Nobel chicane just after Jamie Tarquin had let him through to go and hound the opposition ahead. Now the Aston Martin driver is nowhere to be seen. He hit the left-hand side wall. Not like we can see it on Buck 20's on board, because unfortunately, well, unlike real life, the FIA are extremely quick at getting the safety crews deployed. So quick, in fact, that they have phased Dirkleton out of reality. And that is quite a talent. So, back to the front. All Thanassi needs to do is a Nigel Mansell from 1992. Granted, it's not for the win, but equally, it is... No, it's a Senna, sorry. Why did I say that? Millo's the one doing the Manselling. Thanassi is doing the Ayrton duty. And that is defending as hard as he can. Oh no! A 3-second time penalty will not play into his hands, though. In fact, quite the opposite. Thanassi's let it slip through his fingers all of a sudden. All he had to do was not get track limits penalties. Would have had the position on the track, but no. And now the dynamic changes completely, because now he does have to try and use his pace, perhaps to get as much of a gap as possible. But Millo has been, well, at times almost bulletproof in the way he's driven. Championship leader, got the hat-trick of wins, couldn't get 4 in a row, but has been on the podium in quite a number of races so far this season. And he's looking to continue that streak here today, even more so. Another P3 would play very nicely as he's all over the back of Thanassi's diffuser. File the restraining order right now, sir. That is not safe, and Timmelele is going to get a restraining order from Millo. Jamie Tarquin is now out of this race. He's retired from the pit lane. That's not interesting. Back to the battle at the front, then. A bit of a slippy and slidey exit on Portier. Millo deploying a bit of battery. He's got so much to play with. Feints a tiny bit to the inside, but nothing doing. The traction limiting itself on those tyres for the Red Bull driver. Both of them on the same age mediums, if I'm not mistaken. So, nothing to separate them in terms of tyre life. Magico's now got a 3-second time penalty. No. It's alright, I think he'll be fine. Stark's up to P6 in all of this, by the way. And has got so much of a pace threshold. The superior source on the Williams car is so much so that, well, he's now in P6 and right on the back of this train on fresher softs. Equally, the double-edged sword of being on the softs is that the tyre wear is a lot more. So you got to play your cards right. My brother says, I'm here, reaching far across these new frontiers. With my life, I fight this fear. He's a poet. You didn't know it. Follow my Twitch, or you're a ho-it. Back to the broadcast at hand. Terziak's in P1. He's almost got a 30-second lead. He doesn't even need to drive fast. He's already won this race. And I can confidently say that. Just don't do anything silly, my friend. Thanassi in P2, doing everything he needs to do to hold it on the track, but equally has a time penalty next to his name. So that brings Mr. Millo into play, Timmelele into play, J-Lane into play, and even Mr. Stark in the Williams car, who is hounding and hassling the rear end of the Alfa Romeo ahead. And it could be a DRS chance, although using that curb on the outside, not ideal for stability. And so the move slips through his fingers, and he'll have to wait another lap, although a great exit out of Saint-Devote. J-Lane with not much battery at his disposal as Buck 57 and Buck 20, the Bucks bringing the fizz in the steward's room. And not in that way. Stop trying to be zesty. They got the same penalties at the same time. That's all you need to know. J-Lane slightly wide, having to defend it at Mirabeau, although it has not amounted to anything for the chasing car of Stark, who has got some cracking pace, sponsor, on his Williams car. And now J-Lane is outside of DRS and the cars ahead. Stark just piling on enough pressure, and that's exactly what I've talked about here. You've got to be crafty as well as aggressive when it comes to racecraft, hence why it is called racecraft. Send your opponents defensive, burn a bit of battery. Yes, it might cost you in the short term, but get them out of DRS. Give yourself a better opportunity, especially around a track like Monaco, and with how powerful the slipstream is, how dirty air isn't as much of a limiting factor. It can just provide you with more of an opportunity. He stays off the outside curb, but the exit from J-Lane is exactly what he needs. not succumbing to the pressure, and once again, he leaves the Williams car frustrated behind his rear schnozzer. Don't know, it's not called a rear nose at all. That was a really stupid thing to say. Again, though, through this first sector, Stark is so strong. My brother says Sonic Frontiers is and game. Stark looking to go down the inside. Really showed the nose. I thought he was going to send it, but evidently deciding that... Oh, he's hit the back of J-Lane, though. I was going to say, deciding that the calm and calculated approach is the way to go, but apparently not, as he gives a bit of a biff to the Alfa Romeo as Terziak comes into the pits, and with a gap like that, of course he was going to. Fresh soft tyres, he's going to put the fastest lap, absolutely beyond doubt. And while nothing is happening in this race, I bet someone overtakes now. Let's find out where everyone started in this race. Terziak was P1, Thanasi was P2, Miller was P3. J-Lane was 4th on the grid, Tim was 12th, oh dear. Stark was 13th. It's remarkable comebacks from both of them. Take nothing from what I just said there. It's remarkable. Magico was 6th. Blood is cooking in qualifying, I swear to God. Anyway, back to the race at hand. And with the pit stop, despite everything, Terziak still has a gap of 13.5 seconds. Absolutely on fire. Cooking on gas. Coal is shoveled. Pace is at an all-time high. Confidence is through the ceiling. Monaco doesn't have a ceiling, so you can guess what that means. It's infinite. And he's driven absolutely spellbindingly well, hasn't he? The prancing horse, the Scuderia man. It's felt like an eternity since he last had the top step of the podium in his stranglehold, but he's going to have it back today. And with a crushing fastest lap to boot, this is just a statement now from the Ferrari driver. Everything he would have wanted from this race and more. Pole, pretty much every lap led. I think it is every lap led, in fact, and fastest lap. Terziak, the Flying Scotsman, going for the Grand Slam. And with a nickname like that, he absolutely should. Here he goes then. I'm watching with bated breath and anticipation. The battle's behind. But let's go for a tour of Monte Carlo with the car in P1. It's Mr. Terziak. Through into Casino Square, waiting to go on the brakes, letting the front end grip first, close to the wall on the right-hand side. Still affording a little bit of room. You never, ever want to play chicken with the walls at Monte Carlo. It's a fool's game at the best of times. A lock-up into the Lowe's hairpin. And I tell you what, it is low for my self-esteem, that particular corner. But through Portier, car complies beautifully. The tyres cooking up as well. Burn the battery down towards the Novel chicane. Braking just after the 100-metre board. Missed that inside wall. Cut that perfectly. And then plant on the power. Battery again at the 50-metre. Just after, in fact. Flick it in. Brake a little bit through the gears. Brake at the hedge on the left-hand side. You can either cut that left curb or not. Either way, if you get the slingshot through, sets you up nicely for Raskas. Hugs the inside a little earlier on the turn-in than you think for the last corner. And that is an exemplary Monte Carlo monstering. A 1 minute 10.2 for Terziak. And he's coming through now to start the final lap of this race. Doesn't have to provide any histrionics. Doesn't have to be a hero and try and cook up another fastest lap, get a 20-second gap. He's completed all of the side quests today. He doesn't have to do anything else this race. He's completed the main quests, the side quests, the tertiary quests, all quests in between. It's been an absolutely invincible showing from the Ferrari driver. And I sincerely hope we can get a quick interview in with this man. I feel like, well, we've had smatterings of it. We've had droplets in the stream of hope in terms of interviews. We've had some with J-Lane. Granted, they weren't in the best light. We had one with Magico after the Qatar Grand Prix last week. We knew what his opinion was, but we know one man who's going to be absolutely ecstatic. He has ruled these streets from lap number 1, from qualifying day even, pole position, leads every lap, fastest lap. He has been absolutely untouchable. And through the final corner as Buck 57 retires, Terziak is going to claim his first win of season 16. Terziak wins the Monaco Grand Prix. And it's quite a statement from the Scuderia driver. That is unbelievable. Next across the line, he's turned up the wick in the final laps. He could well get himself at least P4 in this race. With the pace he has shown, Thanasi to cross the line, P2 on the road. It'll be Milo to come through P2. Timmelele's on the podium. Thanasi will keep P4. J-Lane, a great drive for P5. Stark in 6th. Vulcan in 7th. And now it's my husband under so much pressure. Almost insurmountable and with front wing damage, but he will come out of the final corner, and it will be P8 for my husband. Big swimmer, just 4 tenths separating them, but it's 4 tenths in favour of my darling husband. Buck 20, despite, well, the catastrophic collapse of his race at the commencing of it, he's still managed to bag a top 10. Slam will cross the line, last on the road, but P11, it's still good points for the Ferrari driver. Huge contrasting fortunes for the Italian team, but what can you say from Terziak? What can you say? That wasn't just a win, that was a demolition. A frankly ferocious display from one of Blackout's very finest. His first win of the... Well, the first win that I've watched, he might well have won Baku, don't quote me on that. But the first win that I've watched of this season is from the Scotchman, and here he is. Looking through binoculars, because that's how far away everyone else was. He was wondering if I was in the right postcode. Lifts up the trophy, he rules the streets. Everyone else sweeps them at his feet. Last season, it was myself on the top step. Terziak was P2. He's gone one better this season. And it was not even a contest for him. Milo, Mr. Consistent as ever in P2. Timmelele, P3 in the Mercedes car. I don't know what happened at Baku, so don't quote me on anything. But if that is Terziak's first win, congratulations. If it's not his first win, congratulations anyway, because that was utterly phenomenal, that drive. Absolutely crazy. 2 stops, fastest lap, led every lap. You don't get better than that. Milo, P2. Timmelele in P3. Thanasi 4th. J-Lane in 5th. Congratulations, sir. Stark, Vulcan, then my husband in P8. Well done, sir. Big Swimmer in 9th. Buck 20 in 10th. Slam the last of the finishers. With Buck 57, Tarquin, Dirkleton, and Maximus completing out our Blackout drivers. Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That was quite the race. I'm sure you will agree. That was quite the race. I very much enjoyed that. It must be said. Goodness me. Well, there you go. I only watched since lap 8. Don't know how qualifying went, but it clearly went well for Mr. Terziak. But, what else? Good drive from Milo. Mr. Consistent. Great job, sir. Magico said, can you tune in for the past video and see my soft stint? Oh, I see. Oh, that's clever. Oh, very good. Magico doing God's work as a teammate. This is all breaking the fourth wall. Well, fair play. Fair play to him. Sorry, I'm just messaging Terziak. There are words I can't say that I'm writing to him right now, but all you need to know is the last word says unbelievable. Well, the second to last word says unbelievable. There's only 3 words there, but the point is he's absolutely smashed it out of the park. And all you have to say is well done. A huge, huge well done to Mr. Terziak. An incredible race. Now, can somebody please... Hello, J-Lane. How are you doing? Well done on the P5. That was great to watch. Good job, sir. You have great pace around Monaco. I've always said you seem to like Monaco, and it's no different. Did very well indeed. Somebody please inform me of what on earth happened at Baku, because I don't know. Obviously, I was off and about. For those of you that are wondering, I was in St Albans, a place in Hertfordshire, and I was in a commentary meeting because Baku was sweaty. 2 P5s in a row. J-Lane, well done, mate. Very nicely done. Good job, sir. That's brilliant from you. Well done. Anyway, as I was saying, I had a meeting with St Albans City Football Club. It was about radio broadcasts for the next season. So whenever that starts, it's pre-season games is next month. It was about using the studio talking about how doing away games from inside the studio, live streaming them, and then also about various bits and pieces like how we approached commentary, etc. It was all very laid back. It wasn't a huge feedback thing. It was just seeing our different approaches and whatnot, which is quite good actually. You can always learn something, even if you think you know everything. You can always learn something. Baku, Max, and Vulcan died. No, not the Irish drivers. No, that's horrible. I'm gonna get in the Postman channel. There we go. No one knows what that means, but Blackout knows what it means. So, 2 races down for the evening. We've had Baku, we've had Monaco, and next race is... Oh God, it's France. Well, according to my points on the screen, I can actually now tell you all what the results have been so far, because I can calculate it based on the points everybody has got. So, Thanasi got P4 in Monaco. He must have left the lobby in between, because there's no way he didn't... I'll send Milo to you. Oh, yes. Baku, Max and Vulcan died. Jay Dainty says he was P2 at Monaco. I saw that. Thanasi and Milo undercut, and Tim snuck in. Yeah, undercut was just stupidly powerful around Monaco. That's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, around Monaco. That's the way it goes. So Milo must have got a P4 in Baku, and then a P2, as we saw just now. Terziak's won 2 races, so it's not his first win of the season. I do apologise. It was Baku that was his first race win, according to the points in front of me in the lobby. Fair play. Credit where credit is due. Terziak smashing out of the park. Tim's left the lobby. Obviously not to practice, because you're not allowed to practice in Blackout, as I've learned many times before. But I'm kidding. I don't think that rule's ridiculously reinforced. Anywho, Milo, Mr. Consistent. A P4
Hello.
and a P2. He's right up there. Speaking of which, hello Milo. How's it going?
Not too bad, beautiful. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm doing very, very well. Well, firstly, well done on the podium. Very well
Thank you.
done around Monaco. I didn't get to watch Baku, so how was Baku?
How old are your audience?
They're old enough, don't worry.
It was a fucking shit show. I think a drive-through and wing damage within the first 2 laps was less than ideal. Thanasi had the same, so yeah, we ended up racing most of the race with wing damage and got lucky with safety cars. It was fun. One of those.
So I'm looking at points in front of me. I'm calculating. So you must have finished P4, right?
Sounds about right. I think I was P4, J-Lane P5, Brock
Decent.
P6.
Well, it's still up there in the grand scheme of things, and you still you still led the championship after Baku, and you still lead it after Monaco. Very consistently done. I mean, talk us through trying to get the overtakes done round Monaco. Obviously, front wing damage played a big part into it, especially in the first stint. You were stuck behind J-Lane. You and Thanasi were stuck behind J-Lane. Just how powerful was the undercut round Monaco?
Honestly, it wasn't even an attempt at an undercut. It was I am dead on this wing and I need to change it. And then the game said, yeah, it's not the time to change your wing, send you back out again. Stanasi did the exact same. And we got lucky that J-Lane actually is the only one that knows how to work the game and changed his DS. Otherwise, he'd have got out ahead of us and been clear. But yeah, me, J-Lane, Thanasi, Tarquin all had wing damage. So we were just lapping in a nice little slow train, watching Terziak get further and further away.
Yeah, that's all I could see from Terziak. That was ridiculous. This pace was ridiculous around Monaco. Can't believe that,
Yeah,
man.
You need to come back and beat him because he's gonna like. I was really happy with my, oh yeah, I've won 3 in a row. No one's gonna do that again, and now he's gonna do it a week later.
Nah, well, no, it's France still, and France. I'll be honest, France for him last season. If you ever want a psychological advantage, I don't think France was a very good track for him last season. So,
I like that.
I think he finished either right on the cusp of the top 10, if not just outside of it. So, if you ever needed a psychological advantage, you've now got one.
I'm gonna DM him telling him that he's completely shocking at this track then. So,
love it, good stuff. What are your chances looking like around France? Obviously, you're still remaining very consistent, so hats off to you. How do you rate your chances around France? Well, the strategy is going to be a one-stop, but what can we expect in terms of a French Grand Prix race?
if it's uneventful, P5, I reckon. Terziak, Thanasi, Tim, all quicker than me around here, and I think someone else will sneak ahead. So I reckon P5.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I am.
Although, I don't know.
Softs are
Like I
just
say,
not good around here, are they? So is it just a medium hard? Do you hit softs for the start and then try and just do a long stint to try and undercut? I don't know.
I was trying to remember
I don't
what
know
I
how
did
strong an
last.
undercut is here.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what I did last season. It started on the wet tires anyway, so I went.
Don't
I think I
even
went.
speak that into existence.
I think I did softs last stint. Medium soft is definitely possible, but I think you'll get more purchase out of doing medium hard, personally. But we shall see.
Well, that's what I'll have to do then.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you. Qualifying is just around the corner. Best of luck to you. Go well. And
Thank you. Have
hopefully speak to you when you're on the podium again.
Bye.
Bye-bye. There you go, guys. Mr. Millo. Mr. Consistent as ever. Another interviewee on the Blackout Racing Show. Would you believe it? And it's just before we head into the eyesore Grand Prix. Look at that thing. 10 seconds until we get underway. And actually, Millo doesn't know this. I'm wearing a McLaren racing top. Unbeknownst to him and Buck20. That is what I'm wearing. It's from, I think it was, what's it called? Hollister? I think it is. It's a sick McLaren top. It's got the 1970 or 72 McLaren on the back. Absolute stunner of a car. Oh, no. Oh, no. I may have spoken a wet qualifying into existence, although that throws the cat amongst the pigeons because wet weather might change the guard slightly in terms of who provisionally has the pace. Millo said it would be Terziak, Tim, and Thanasi. Basically, if your name starts with the letter T, nice one, guys. I'll come back at some point. But, yeah, with the rain, it's less about throwing the car in. You've got to have a bit of finesse with the way you drive, as I found out last season. Haven't done an overview of my French Grand Prix, but let's put it this way. The start of my race wasn't great. I'm not a fan of it. The start of my race, that is. It got better afterwards, which is a good thing. 7 seconds until we get into one-shot quali. And I don't know if that means we can watch it. I presume we can. It's going to be interesting to see how on earth we do. Away we go then. It's one-shot quali time. And Magico leads. It's a great time. We're watching the timing screens go absolutely haywire as Stark now moves into P1. I'm phasing in between realities. And like I say, the wet weather is going to throw many cats amongst many pigeons as Buck20 currently tops the timing sheets through Sector 1. Quickly that changes back to Serena Williams in the Williams car. Again, Tim and Buck20 swapping positions all the way through, and now Stark back up into P2. A clean showing from everybody so far. Where's Big Swimmer? What has he done? He's down in 15th. Good grief. On board with the man who's provisionally on pole position then. Timmelele into the chicane. Cuts the first bit okay. Second bit also cut pretty decently. But Stark does a better job at it. He's got a great launch out of that chicane as he hurls his way down towards the right-hander. How brave do you feel? A tiny lift off for the Williams driver. Keep it within track limits. That's all you need to do. Thanasi is creeping up that timing sheet, though. I'm looking on the left-hand side. Was towards the bottom end of the top 10. Now in P3. Tim retakes the lead of this session. Jamie Tarquin's out of it. Stark now reclaims it briefly through the left-hander. A loss of traction for Timmelele. Stark back on provisional pole. And he has just a couple of corners to go. Goes a bit wide into the penultimate corner. Has to pinch it in to the apex at the final corner. Timmelele's got a great exit. And he's surely wrapped up pole position as he hurtles towards the line. It's pole for Timmelele. And oh my goodness me. 100th of a second is all that separates the Mercedes man and the Williams wonder kid. Millo in the McLaren, though, was only half a tenth off, snatching pole position himself. Such fine margins to play with. Thanasi in P4, 3 tenths in the end, off of pole position. I didn't see the rest of the order, but we're going to find out now, ladies and gentlemen. So, Timmelele in P1, Stark second, Millo third, Thanasi fourth, Buck50 rounds out the top 5. My McLaren shirt is bringing good luck. Slam in 6th, my husband's in 7th. Now, what's actually going on? That is a zesty man right there. Terziak not enjoying the wet conditions as much. He is P8. Vulcan 9th, Dirkleton in 10th, Buck 57 and Maximus just happy to be there. Quite frankly, they do finish a lap though. Unlike J-Lane, Jamie Tarquin, and Big Swimmer got disqualified. Big Swimmer in his natural habitat got disqualified. What? The rain normally brings the pain. Sends spirits plummeting. Not if your name's Timmelele or Stark. Locking out the front row with almost identical times. Luckily though, I may have spoken the rain into existence in qualifying. In the race though, at least it starts dry conditions. So maybe some people displaced in the wet conditions, they're not as big of a fan of them. Now they can start to work out what they're going to do in the main event. In the bone dry Paul Ricard piss flap. And that is the one time I break the boundaries of that. I gave Milo permission to. I should probably give myself permission to as well. But I feel like I'll bring the zest to the commentary. Only if it's absolutely kicked off and many, many poos have hit a fan. Then I'll get to be slightly more colourful. However, for now, we shall survey the Paddock Club, who have got some of their blinds shut. And since it's the French Grand Prix, that is a wise choice. But open them up again, sir. Don't shirk. Don't hide behind your curtains. It's the Blackout French Grand Prix. Otherwise, I'll black you out myself. That sounds really bad. 5 red lights at the French Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go after an Eon. It's a good start for Timmelele. Stark with a bit more wheel spin, but straight into the slipstream of the Mercedes driver as they make their way towards turn 1. Tim slices across and has first position under wraps. Milo in P2, Buck 20 sives past Thanasi into P4. Magico's having a little scrape with Mr. Slam round the outside on the soft boots. Can't make it stick though, has to settle for P8. Maybe leaving himself exposed, but Dirkleton there, trying to go round the outside of Buck 57. Maximus round the outside of Vulcan. This is great racing at the lower fringes of the top 10. But Maximus has got a huge slingshot down the inside of Dirkleton. He sives his way through. Maybe could get the move done on Buck 57 as well. How brave are you feeling? It's only P10 brave, but it's brave nonetheless, as Big Swimmer and J-Lane are having a lovely feisty little mincing. Look at them go. Down towards the right-hander. J-Lane's well ahead by the time they reach that section. Meanwhile, Buck 20 is up into P2. Good grief, but Stark is not going to let that one. He's not going to let that one go lying down. Milo carries a huge amount of speed through that left-hander, and that is track limits for not only Stark, but also for Buck 20. I do see that. I definitely did see that. Terziak already up into 6th place, by the way. And all of the cars, there's no clear gaps forming after lap 1, except for this man at the front. Timmelele has a gap of 1.6 seconds. Buck 20 was ahead of Stark. How much longer? It's just eroding away. Stark down the inside. Had to leave space. Didn't leave it. And he's been spun round at turn 2. He's going to plummet down the order. Thanasi takes the advantage. Capitalises. Is up into P2. Terziak there making moves into P3 briefly. And Buck 20 gives him a mean old slice across the front end. And my husband now claims P6. Buck 57 claims P7. It's drama already at the French Grand Prix. Terziak not a happy bunny though. He's going straight down the inside, or thought about it, on Buck 57. Maximus was looking more feisty though. And oh no! Buck 57 spun it! Spun it and pirouetted. It's a 7 out of 10 from the judges, but he's down into P14. But luckily now, Stark has a friend. Jamie Tarquin, is he thinking about a juicy old switchback on Mr. Terziak? No, but Terziak's thinking about a juicy switchback on Buck 20. That was delightful overtaking. Buck 20's not done yet. He tries to nip at the heels of the Ferrari man, but not to be. Gonna have to do a bit of defensive work for a brief moment. into the penultimate corner, unless Buck 20 goes for a banzai move. I'll tell you what Terziak does, and that was, well, extremely aggressive. It was Tiamat Marduk-esque when he was fighting for the championship on the last lap in the Creator Series finale on this game. And, oh, in part, I think that was almost too aggressive. A bit of hot-headedness creeping in, which is fair enough. He got displaced 5 positions at the first possible opportunity, and now Jamie Tarquin's trying to go through. Something humongous has happened there. Buck 57's had another moment. Stark's lost his friend. Maximus, though, trying to go for it on Dirkleton. Thought about going round the outside. J-Lane now is switching to the inside, and I'll tell you what, groan all you like at the French Grand Prix. It's providing a fabulous spectacle already, and it's only 3 laps. DRS enabled on this lap, and Milo is going round the outside of Slam. DRS assistance has been used and abused. Terziak now on the back of his teammate, and I've no doubt at all there will be team orders. And by team orders, it will sound something like this. Oi, Slam, get out my way. Terziak is faster than you. Jamie Tarquin trying to go through on Buck 20, trying to go around the outside of Buck 20, and I'll tell you what, it's a sensational sweeper from the zesty Englishman. Jamie Tarquin into P7, Dirkleton and Maximus fighting it out. Steer Forest, thank you very much for the follow, my friend. Welcome to all the chaos in the Blackout Racing League. Maximus going round the outside of J-Lane, I think probably defending from J-Lane in the process. It was very elbows out from Dirkleton on the exit of that sweeping left. Before those final 2 corners, he has retained P10. Jamie Tarquin, with the help of DRS, gets past my husband. No. Heartbreak. Anyway, Slam and Terziak, well, Slam's keeping up very nicely. Terziak goes down the inside. He's already got a 3-second time penalty to his name. Good grief. Meanwhile, in the news today, Italy have made the last 16 of the Euros, drawing with Croatia 1-1. And I bet you're all thinking the same thing as me. Are Spain winning? First question, do you really care? And secondly, yeah, they did. They beat them 1-0 through Ferran Torres. And it means, I believe, that England have already qualified for the knockout stages because Spain have beat Albania. So that's great news. And so now we go back to the action at hand, and there's still this huge trade of cars. Dirkleton's now managed to get ahead of Magico and Buck 20 in the process. Although my husband will not take it lying down. Well, he does sometimes because it's my husband, but stop prying in my private life. That's really mean. Anywho, let's get back to the action at hand. It's lap number 4 of the French Grand Prix. Something's happened to Maximus. He has met barrier for a brief moment, but luckily, no front wing damage, but pirouetting gremlins. Oh dear. And Stark is slowly but surely catching up back to this train of cars, despite the amount of DRS they have. He's not that far behind, done admirably to keep the pace and keep his composure, despite everything that happened in that little scrap with the McLarens on lap number 2. Did he close the door too much, or did Buck 20 simply drive into him? I'll leave that for you to discuss. Terziak, however, is down to P6. Jamble Tarquin into P5 and looking to pile the pressure on Slam up ahead. It's the battle of the Slammers. And it's not a prison gag. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, there's another yellow flag briefly. I don't know whether it was for Buck 57 or Maximus, but Buck 20 is making moves. Through he goes. J-Lane's also trying to go through on my husband, holding it round the outside. That's a neat little move there. And no, here comes Big Swimmer. Husband, stand tall. Don't let Big Swimmer through. I've trained you long and hard for this moment. Yes! Well done, husband. Down the inside. Well done, sir. That is quality from you. Retains P10, although he has made the Duracell bunny cry, and Big Sam has put him on toast as a result. And admittedly, Big Sam has, well, 50% more battery than he does. Pace at the front equalising, though, for the time being, whilst all of this is happening. Jamie Tarquin, the closest challenger to another car, apart from Vulcan, who's pushing Magico around the French Grand Prix track. 1.5 seconds the gap is remaining at on lap number 6 of this race. Like I say, though, Jamie Tarquin could be the man on the move. He's going to think about going down the inside. He will go down the inside. And can he keep it? Well, he does keep it within the confines, but Slam's gone a bit wide. It could be a switchback moment for the Aston Martin. Wheel-to-wheel stop as they head into the right-hander. And through sweeps Jamie Tarquin. A very neat little piece of racecraft, just switching back at turn number 2. Noticed the momentum that Slam was carrying, and he ascends into P4, but for how long? Because Slam now with DRS. Not the greatest amount of battery in the world, but we know how powerful the DRS can be at this track, and Slam is going to use that to a great advantage down the inside of Jamie Tarquin, and just as quickly as the Aston Martin driver had found the supremacy, the Ferrari reclaims it, although not a great exit at all, and that looked very interesting for a brief moment. Jamie Tarquin going for a spot of brown nosing on Mr. Slam. I don't really know why. That was very sus. But moving into the right-hander, Buck 20 is now past Dirkleton, has the inside line. J-Lane trying to follow suit as he looks to the inside. Nothing doing for the time being. Could have the inside of the left-hander, though. Dirkleton looking extremely unstable. So extremely unstable. And Big Sam's now on the back of this train. Vulcan is. Magico's hanging on to the coattails of it. Sir Forrest says, "Hi, Carl. It's Big Sam's fiancé. Hello, Big Sam's fiancé. Good to have you on board the Blackout Racing Show. Welcome along." And Jamie Tarquin is back retaking positions. It's a much more comfortable showing into P4. Meanwhile, I'll tell you what, your man, Big Sam, is in P10 and is looking to capitalise on the moves being made up ahead. Dirkleton and J-Lane will be scrapping it out, I have no doubt. Looks to the inside. No opportunity presents itself as they pincer it into the right-hander. The medium's coming into their own. I've completely forgotten about the tyre stipulations and all of this. Timmelele's just started to get away from Thanasi up at the front, which will be good news for him. You never want Thanasi within range of you. It heightens your blood pressure significantly. Statistically, you are 400% more likely to bottle it. And I know this because I've raced him. Anywho, a good exit for J-Lane here could put him in a prime position to make moves, but he's got hardly any battery. Well, Dirkleton hardly has any at all for that matter as well, but there's fighting going on up ahead for P4. Jamie Tarquin has the inside line. Terziak will then sweep down the inside and pay, well, Jamie Tarquin's compliment of sending his teammate to Angola. So fair play to him. And now the Flying Scotsman can get on his way, albeit with a 3-second time penalty to his name. And Vulcan, no, has got past Big Sam. In all of that, I don't know what's happened. Big Sam could go for a dastardly dive down the inside, chooses not to, but that is a phenomenal exit. The apex speed there from Big Swimmer was absolutely fantastic. However, Jamie Tarquin, and there's people in the pits, it's Jamie Tarquin and Slam that are in the pits. I was going to ask, is it raining? I don't think it is. No, it's not. Who knows if it's going to rain? The game won't tell me. So there you are. What I can do now is get the tyre graphic up and tell you things are about to get zesty as Jamie Tarquin and Slam, both on the medium tyres. Milo deciding to go for the medium tyres. And to be honest, the softs have held pace quite well as Jamie Tarquin gets a 3-second time penalty. Forget what I said, he's been cutting corners in order to find that pace. But Mr. Miller, if you are listening in, I would say, actually, soft tyres is not a bad shout. Yes, they might have a big undercut on you, this is true. However, the pace difference on newer tyres and softer tyres to boot is significantly stronger. As Buck 20 is on the back of Terziak. Feels like he's been brewing getting back into the top 4 as Big Sam gets past J-Lane. That's more like it. Trying to get past Vulcan as well in all of that as J-Lane goes so wide. And my husband is getting involved as well. It's a big tussle between 3 men, almost 4. Vulcan is just about hanging on in there as Big Sam hunts him down. Has him right in his reticule. Nothing to separate them as J-Lane darts into the pit lane. The yellow flag though. Oh no! Tim spun it! Tim spun round on the medium tyres. I said the mediums were coming into their own. Maybe not for some people. Tim, who had a comfortable margin up at the front, now has Mr. Millo worrying him because he's going to maul the Mercedes man if he's not careful. What on earth happened? Well, obviously, he dropped it out of the first two corners. Perhaps got too much onto the curb on the inside. That's normally the bugbear on this track. But that's precisely not what Tim needed. What Big Sam also didn't need was a 3-second time penalty as Millo moves into P2. So Millo said P5 may well have been the maximum, but I'll tell you what. He's eyeing up a P2 here in this race. And if Thanasi screws the pooch, which is very much illegal, it could also be a P1. So never say never at this track. Never ever say never. That's all I will say. By the way, I've been eyeing up Stark's progress while all of this is happening. Teetering at the 3-second mark behind that train of cars as Vulcan is looking to try and make moves on Big Sam, although Big Sam has had a monumental right-hander, so I guess we'll ignore that. But Stark's been on the edge of that 3-second gap the whole way through, actually keeping good pace despite how powerful the DRS is and how others have been hoisted along at the Paul Ricard track. He's actually done very, very well to keep pace and still is in the running for a good result at this race. Dirkleton is into the pits, the next person to bite the bullet, get off the soft tyres. And on lap number 10, he will go from the softs onto the fresh set of mediums. The freshest set of mediums of anyone on the grid. As Jamie Tarquin sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 32.6, as Vulcan claims the 3-second time penalty. There's two contrasting things to claim there, but either way, it's not an ideal showing. As Dirkleton exits the pit lane, there's J-Lane and Magico in all of this. So actually, staying out for a bit longer has helped Dirkleton out handsomely. But J-Lane will now push like a stabbed aminal of sorts and get into that DRS range as Dirk tries to fire up those medium tyres. And Magico's well within DRS of J-Lane as well. So the 3-car train begins to formulate once again. Tim right behind Millo as Thanasi extends the gap out in front to 7 whole seconds. Oh boy. Feels like I haven't driven France in ages on this game. In fact, I think the last time I drove France on the F1 23 game was when I did Blackout here. And who won when I did the driving of Blackout last season? Oh yeah, it was me. Millo into the pits though, that's more interesting. The first of the top 3 to peel into pit row. Let's see what tyres Millo shall go onto. I presume the soft tyres because it's lap number 11. And yes, it would be unwise to choose anything else. It is the soft tyres. And has Millo always had the number 61? I swear he's used the number 81. Oh no, he can't though, because Oscar Piastri has it. I'm confused. Well, it looked like 81 from where I was, but 61. The 61 Brandish McLaren will exit out onto the track and behind Jamie Tarquin. So a 3-lap undercut. That's the dividends it's paid, but the soft tyres will be in a class of their own throughout this stint, as I'm sure will be evidenced in front of your very eyes very soon. What else is also evident is J-Lane has good pace, as Dirkleton provides a tiny bit of bump drafting into the right-hander. Don't know if that's strictly legal, but J-Lane will hold it round the outside. What a crafty man. Look at him go, as Magico is going to get involved now. He's back in the fray. The more that these two fight, the more that it plays into his hands as Millo has DRS. Crucially, at the first time of asking, and through the chicane, despite going wide, look at how much speed he has. And on the exit, it's not the greatest. However, with the slipstream and battery usage to boot, Jamie Tarquin is not going to fight this. A purple sector 2, and peerless pace sends Millo soaring up into P8 and mauling his opposition with cold blood. Well, the coldest of bloods, to be honest with you. Next target up the road is Stark, yet to pit. In fact, everyone else in front of him is yet to pit. Who knows what kind of undercut he could get. Tim into the pits, Buck 20 into the pits, Big Swimmer into the pits, Vulcan into the pits, and Stark into the pits. Obviously, soft tyres will be going on for all of these competitors. If they're going on to hards, they have a death wish. And that is all I will say. That is all I will say to them. Anywho, Milo comes back out and is in P3, obviously, with the soft undercut. And he's already, because of that undercut, gained 3 seconds. That is quite ridiculous. As Maximus has a 3-second time penalty. Oh, no. Let's see what kind of pace Milo has now. As I forget how words work, so that's fun. But he's already pulled out of DRS of Jamie Tarquin. And Jamie Tarquin will not obviously have DRS because he's past the detection point. The flappage is not flappening. And so Milo can go on his merry way instead about eating up the miles for the rest of this Grand Prix. And setting a fastest lap to boot. Because that is very possible at this stage. Although Thanasi yet to pit. With a 24.5-second gap over Mr. Milo. Probably pitting very soon. In fact, speak of the devil, in he goes. Into the pit lane. And surely onto the soft tyres. He will go. Mr. Terziak, will he pit on this lap? Or will he be even braver? Never mind, he wasn't braver. He absolutely sends it into the pit lane. How is that not a speeding in the pit lane penalty on my screen? That was ridiculous speed he took. J-Lane has a 3-second time penalty. 4 track limits. Magico is all over the diffuser of him. And if Magico can stay away from the 3-second time penalty curse, then, well, what can I say? As Milo gets the fastest lap of the race, who saw that coming? I certainly did. Where will Terziak rejoin in this race? The answer is, it will be behind Buck 20. The last thing he'll want is to be behind Dirkleton and the others. And luckily for him, he just, and I mean just, remains ahead of the Aston Martin car. It will try and poach a bit of DRS for the sake of his scrap with J-Lane and Magico. But Terziak will fly down the road, I have no doubt about that. Fresh boots, softer boots, and the flying Scottish heart. Through the right-hander he goes, almost already breaks out of DRS. Luckily, Dirkleton stays within that, and he's burnt out all of his battery pretty much in order to do that. As Milo has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. The 2-lap undercut was so powerful, he almost got DRS of Thanasi. But now, we will see the double-edged sword of having the 2-lap undercut. And that is, Thanasi will simply build that gap back up. You'd have to suggest that he would. Approaching onto lap number 14 of the French Grand Prix. And Thanasi, this will probably be his fastest lap attempt. Would not surprise me one bit. With a purple sector 3, let's ride on board with the race leader. As Timmelele sets the fastest lap at 1 minute 31.3. Let's see what the Red Bull man can do. Very nicely taken through turn 1 and 2. Pretty much right on the limit. Missing that apex, but hugging the left-hander nicely. Sets himself up for the right-hander. Basically rotating the car on the brakes. It's a purple sector 1. Get on the power as early as possible. Just about confidence as you turn the wheel. As Buck 20 has a 3-second time penalty. So it is not over for Mr. Terziak. The Buck 20 is going to set about gazumping slam. Chicane, nicely taken on that first curb. Pinch it into that second one. A little bit of a snap on the mid-apex, but comfortably on the power. And burning, burning, burning the Energizer Bunny. Which, well, experts in the wild would call a savoury meal. Into the sweeping right-hander. Brakes so late here. Switches into 4th, gets into 5th, use all of the track. The car remains stable as you let the aerodynamics take care of all the work. Sweep through the left. Use all the curb on the outside and then some. Flick it in. Brake as you turn as the car gets the late apex. Brake in a straight line. Pinch into the hairpin. Straighten out the wheel and across the line you will go to complete a pearling lap around Paul Ricard. It's a 1 minute 31.1. And it wasn't that far ahead of Timmelele's lap. Only 2 temps separating them on 1 lap. Younger tyres. So Tim has always had good pace around Paul Ricard, and that is no different today. And speaking of Tim, he's going to set about annihilating Milo. Milo can be pretty proud of the week he's had still. A 4th, a 2nd and a 3rd would still be admirable. Perhaps what could have been at the French Grand Prix if things had materialised the way you would have wanted to, especially with the lap 2 contact between Stark and his teammate. Just in the wrong place at the wrong time at points, but Timmelele is not going to overtake. Now that is quite interesting. Why did he not do that? I've lost a move because of that. I know who hasn't though, and that's Jalen. As big swimmers ahead of my husband, no. He's absolutely rinsed him. Why would you do that? Oh no! Maximus has had a problem. He was all so close to barrier. Blushes, though, are spared, and he carries on, albeit with earth on his visage. I've learned French since the last time I did one of these. And that's pretty good. Stark, the man on the move, punted to the back at the beginning of this race, and now going for glory down the inside of the sweeper. Magico left the door open. Stark almost accepted that invitation and walked right through, which in an F1 car is ironic because they don't have legs, but the traction is so superior. Thought about it into the penultimate corner. Will he go for it into the last corner? He's going to try and go around the outside. Maybe a switchback on the cars, but Magico actually defends it extremely well. However, it will all be in vain because DRS is open for Mr. Stark, and a stout defense from Magico is, well, it's quickly extinguished, and Stark ignites his charge towards Big Swimmer. With no penalties to his name, should he reach the back of that train? Well, it's P8. Although Magico was right on the cusp of retaking that P11. God, the momentum you got out of there was ridiculous, as we see Jamie Tarquin in P4 in the background, going through that sweeping left and onto the back straight. Buck 20 is hot on his heels, though. He's gaining every single little millimetre of this track. And Terziak even more so, as the battle between Dirkleton and J-Lane rages on. Round the outside goes the Alfa Romeo driver, but unfortunately, with the move not being completed, it invites one man, and one man only, to take the glory. Big Swimmer going down the inside, not just getting J-Lane, but getting Dirkleton as well. Through goes the AlphaTauri man, balls of tungsten. And that was absolutely delightful to watch. Big Swimmer up into P8. Very nicely done. Up at the front, Thanasi has a gap of 8 seconds. Monaco was dominant. France is proving to be, well, slightly less dominant, but dominant nonetheless. Milo still managing to provide the defence against Timmelele. Either that or Tim is just choosing not to overtake. As Terziak overtakes Buck 20. Into turn 1, the Ferrari driver emerges ahead, and now the emergence of pace begins as he continues his conquest for P4 and on Jamie Tarquin, although that all depends on how many penalties he has. 3 seconds for everyone except Maximus, who has 6, so there's the answer to that question. Take that away so you can actually see what's on the screen. There we go. Gap now 9 seconds, and Tim is just choosing not to overtake. On balance is sort of fair enough. J-Lane's going for it again on Dirkleton. Tried the inside line last lap, got shuffled out to the edges of the track in the end. And there's been a touch. J-Lane's been half spun. Dirkleton's had to go off the track. Contact between the two of them into the braking zone. And look who's here to pick up the pieces. Stark with a cracking exit sponsor. Into P10 he goes. Down the inside of the fast right. And that surely will be signed, sealed, and delivered in a postage stamp. First class, gold standard from the Williams car. And now it's another Mercedes customer he has to attend to mince meeting. It's Dirk. Just about remaining on the coattails of the DRS of Big Swimmer, but not for much longer, as we're now into the penultimate lap of the French Grand Prix. And whilst this battle is set to be a saucy slobberknocker, up ahead, it's spicing up too. Timmelele bringing the bratwurst to this one. That's disgusting. I wish I'd never said that. Also, probably very illegal. But here on Blackout, almost anything goes. DRS will be wide open again. The big battle, though, will be for P4. Terziak could and should have DRS at his disposal. And because of the penalties that all three of these drivers have in this train, this battle, whoever comes out on top, on the track will have it, and Tim finally goes through on Milo. He's waited long enough. The gap now at 12 seconds. He decides that is, well, it's a kick to the gonads of self-esteem, and I don't want to be a part of that anymore. Through he goes, and Terziak's got a great exit. Jamie Tarquin's trying to defend the inside, sweeps out and relieves it. Terziak with no battery whatsoever. I don't know if Jamie Tarquin has any either. No, he doesn't. Terziak down the inside, and P4 is claimed in the Flying Scotsman's hands. And he chugs and chugs and chugs his way along into P4. And that's probably the worst bit I've ever done. Good grief, that was absolutely dry as the Sahara. Tell you what isn't dry though, this racing on display. And this race as a whole hasn't been dry. There has been drama, there has been daredevilish overtakes, and there has been dashing racecraft from minute one. Vulcan with another 3-second time penalty though. That's not dashing, that's demoralising. So the battles seem to be all set in stone on the track, although there is still Dirkleton and Big Sam's score to settle. It's been settled and Big Sam's won it, but here comes Stark again. One man that does seem to be in the right place at the right time. Granted, we'll ignore lap 2, but since then, he has put himself exactly where he needs to be. And so, we could have a 3-way scrap, a 4-way scrap, maybe even a 5-way scrap. J-Lane's on the back of this train. For potentially P7 here. Slam leading this train. Buck 20 trying to get the move done on Jamie Tarquin. My voice gave up. It's not happened. Jamie Tarquin has not got any battery at all. Buck 20 had a tiny bit. Thought about going round the outside. Is going to try and go round the outside. A last-ditch effort from the McLaren driver. Tries to hold it. Can't find a way through. Meanwhile, through the final corner, he's back on the top step like he's never left it. Thanassi wins the French Grand Prix with a commendable and commanding drive. Ever since he took the lead from the mistake that Timmelele made, he's never looked back. There is one more straight for Buck 20 to get this. It's so close, 2 tenths in it. Slipstream, battery, he could do it. He's through on the line. Jamie Tarquin concedes at the death. And McLaren have 3rd and 5th. Stark is in P10 in the end. That got very juicy. He will claim P8 though, courtesy of the penalties that everyone else has. Magico will also inherit a couple of positions as a result of everybody's corner cutting antics. And all that remains now is to wait for Buck 57 and Maximus to complete the running, and for explosions and flair, that is a 10 out of 10. I don't know what the DRS board ever did to you. It will be a practice start to finish off this race, and a big burnout for the balmy French crowd. And he will do it again one more time, sending the tyres to Mount Vesuvius levels of hot. But Buck 57 will cross the line eventually, just as a flex, right ahead of Maximus in P14. Maximus completes the line out, but he will score a point, crucially for him. Woo! Oh, there you go. French Grand Prix, moan all you want, but that was marvellous. Absolutely ravishing racecraft. And, well, I've always said if your name is a T, you've almost guaranteed, if you know what I'm saying, to win a race in Blackout. And this week, ladies and gentlemen, is no different. Terziak's won the first 2, and to cap all off the battle of the T's, Thanassi has won the French Grand Prix. Soon enough, the podium celebrations will be here, and the Red Bull man will claim top spot at the Circuit Paul Ricard, which I'm still bewildered at the fact that it isn't on F124. Why is it not on F124? Why could they have just not left that in to keep the same variety? Now we've got even less variety. Makes absolutely zero sense. But the podium celebrations are here. A shake of the hand, a beat of the chest. I am the captain now, says the Red Bull man. Running with no assists this season, can I just say. It's what I normally run. He's bit the bullet, he's gone off ABS. And he's taken to it like a duck to water. I am very impressed. And it's only going to make him a faster driver because of it. So well done to you. Timmelele P2, Mr. Consistent Milo, caps it off in P3. And so, let's have a look at... Oh, let's not have... Oh, let's have a look at the standings. Excellent. The race results then for the French Grand Prix. Thanasi, fastest lap and the win. The full complement of 33 points. Timmelele in P2. Milo third. Thought fifth was going to be a best result, but there you go. Third place. Terziak fourth. Buck 25th. Turn Jamie Tarquin in 6th. Slam 7th. Stark 8th. Big Swimmer in 9th. Dirk 10th. J-Lane 11th. My Husband in 12th. Falcon 13th. Buck 57 in 14th. And Maximus rounds out our Blackout races for the night. Well, there you are. Can you wish little Sam a happy anniversary? Aw, happy anniversary, little Sam. Aw. Blackout got so cute. Why is Blackout so cutesy? Stop it, I'm gonna cry. No, I'm gonna be like the guy out of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Man, tears. No, I don't know. I can't remember what the quote is, but you know who I'm talking about. If you've watched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I'm going off topic. The point is, what a week of Blackout I've had. And I was only here for 2 2/3 of the races tonight. Well, 1 2/3, should I say. Wasn't even here for 2 of them fully. I missed Baku completely. And, well, I think, well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to go off here, put it on a standby screen. And we are, oh yes we are going to quickly just have a look at a few clips from the Baku race. I'm going to quickly disconnect through there. And Timmelele, I was going to say, it went to a yellow flag at the finish line. I was going to ask the question, did he run out of fuel? The answer is yes, he did run out of fuel at the death. Well, there you go. That explains that particular theory. We're going to have a look at some clips from Baku. I've heard that there are a couple of clips from Baku that I can have a gloss over, which is that's a horrendous way of putting it, but it'll be good to see. Be good to see the goings on of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So here's me. Hello everybody. How are we doing? It's been a while since I've showed my face on here, it feels like. Those are my shoes. Ignore that. It's been a week so far, let's put it that way. My advice to you all is get a job that you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy it, just research what you do enjoy. Because that's what I do. Anywho, let's have a look at the Baku City Circuit race. Because I feel like I say, there's a few clips out and about. Let me turn that up so I look like a pasty fish. Look at that. I've got shadows now. I've turned up my RTX on my face. So much that, or maybe ray tracing, I don't know any graphical words or phrases correctly, but that's what I'm going to say anyway. Onto Discord I go. We're going to find some clips. We're going to have some fun watching them. So, Baku, let me see. There's only one I can see. That's a shame. What it does say, though, is that Vulcan is a ballistic missile. So, I've downloaded it, and we're going to have a look at it. That is what we are going to do. There we go. That looks good. Let me turn that to... There's all my Instagram notifications coming on now. We're going to go onto that one. I think that's right. I can see it on my preview in a minute. Oh, yes. Right. Look at this webcam box, ladies and gentlemen. That is a sexy webcam box. And you know who made it? You're damn right you know who made it. My husband made it. The absolute GOAT and the love of my life. If you haven't followed him, go and follow him. RD Magico on Twitch. He's also on the YouTube and more stuff on an internet. He made all of these. He made the standby screens that you see, the startup screens, the end screens, the webcam box. He made all of it. And all of the banners below as well. The Twitch banners in terms of my socials and whatnot. He made all of them. So go and follow him. He is a hell of a guy. He is absolutely amazing. Anywho, this one here is from Big Swimmer. It says Vulcan is a bit of a rocket ship. Let's find out if he is. Here we are, lap number 12. And Vulcan, oh good grief, he's a rocket ship. Well, we should have seen that coming, really. Although he then nearly does bin it into the outside wall. With Big Sam on the softs, anything is possible. Oh, good grief. I did not expect that for 1 second. What on earth's happened there? So, oh, I see. So Maximus brakes for this corner. Vulcan either... I can't tell from... because I need his perspective on it. No, it looks like he brakes... maybe just Maximus brakes a bit earlier just so he can get a runner out of the corner. And get potentially onto the 5th place man, who is J-Lane, as you can see. Unfortunately, though, Vulcan brakes a lot later, I think. Or either that was just forgets to brake at the right time. As a result, Maximus pile-drived into the outside wall. And that's what happened between them. Have to wait for everybody else through.
0.6 seconds.
Gap ahead on J-Lane. Big Sam's engineer believing that it is very much possible as Milo gets ever closer. That's an ominous sight to see. So back to me we go. That was actually quite an interesting clip. Fair play. Credit where credit is due. Sorry, I'm reading things. Ugh. Sorry, everyone. If you're wondering why I'm so bunged up, I have horrendous hay fever currently, which I do apologise for. I have taken tablets for it. Before all of you saying, you're such a man, you don't actually take any medicine. You think you just power through everything. No, I know I can't. So I try and mitigate that issue. It still doesn't work, though. Well, it has its limitations, let's put it that way. Jenna says, I'll get you some Baku clips. Thank you, sir. You are absolutely astonishing, my friend. Terziak, cheers for commentating my... Anytime. Anytime. Honestly. Wouldn't have my Monday evenings any other way, as I always say. It's an absolute honour and a privilege. So thank you for having me, as always. It's always a good time commentating, that's all I will say. No matter what I do. I can hardly get my mittens off commentating. I do it for Blackout, I do it for St Albans City Football Club, and I do it for a little thing called Creator Series sometimes, which is pretty cool. I've garnered the nickname Clipbook Carl. So that's fun. It is actually quite fun, it's not that bad. Next race weekend's at Austria. And it's kind of weird, actually, because, of course, being Creator Series, you can't really talk about, well, there's a sort of embargo. It's not a huge embargo, but you have to be not too critical of the F1 24 game on that broadcast. Here, it feels like I can be, though. And I think it's only fair I feel like it's only fair that we are about this game, no matter what kind of platform you have, because it's genuinely been a disaster in terms of a release. I mean, yes, it's been made better and whatnot. Again, I'm going to break the fourth wall here, but we in the Blackout chat, we made Buck57 made a thread for reasons I won't explain, but it's essentially to do with things to improve on the F1 game. And for instance, you've got things like multiplayer is not engaging to do outside of organised races, so just revamp the multiplayer mode. Elimination mode, for instance, I don't know why they keep deciding that, yes, we'll have it, and then no, we don't have it, but yes, keep that. Little bugs everywhere, yes, that's annoying. My suggestions, I'll tell you what mine were. So we were limited to 3-ish. I had an honourable mention in mine. Big Sam, oh, thank you, man. No, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've done a few for them, but I had a proper actual official meeting with the radio station for it, in terms of, like I say, going through the studio, how to work away games, etc, etc. So that is very much in the pipeline, both home and away. So we'll see where it goes from there, and I'm looking forward to it. Peter Drury just shuddered somewhere. Come outside, Peter. Peter Drury's been very quiet since I showed up on the scene. No, I'm kidding. Peter Drury's a pretty damn good guy, let's put it that way. Anyway, what I was saying, I said track updates are nice, but more variety would be even nicer. Removing France makes no sense to me at all, and narrows the options down even more. Track DLC is the dream in this case, but even if extra layouts of the tracks were already in the game were brought out, like the Sakir outer layout or the short circuits, that'd be great. By extension, this one would be a little bit more tricky to do. But like retro layouts, like old layouts of tracks, think retro Silverstone, so pre-2010, I think that'd be sick. The pre-2007 Spa track, the various many Catalunya layouts would be excellent in my opinion. And there's a couple of others out there that I think could be done. I don't think bring the old Abu Dhabi layout back unless you want to be burnt at the stake. Bring the old Australia layout. There you go, the old Australia layout. That'll be a good one. How about that? Terziak says that might have been my last ever league race on France. Aww. I know, sad. The one I did last season was my last race on France. Oh, blimey. That's quite something, isn't it? I like the track, but always do badly on it nowadays. Yes, France is really hit and miss for me as well. Luckily, on the day that I did it, it was hit. That's a good thing. Every other day I did it, it was a miss. And I was not a fan of that. I can be as fast on time trial as I want to be, but if I'm not consistent, that kind of rules everything out. Throws everything out the window that I've worked for. But anywho. Aw. It's all cute. Very happy anniversary to you. A very, very happy anniversary to you. That's very, very sweet. J-Lane has sent me a clip, and it is of the Baku restart, which we are going to watch now on, thank God, not Internet Explorer. It's going to be on Google Chrome, and it is a 60 FPS clip, everybody. We are in business. Here we are then. Safety car restart. J-Lane in P3 on the medium tyres. We have a Williams ahead, which must be Starks. There's only one Williams. On the softs, we have a Ferrari on the softs, and that will be, well, he's on the hards actually, up to Terziak though, I think. Looks like it is. Let us find out. A good choice to pull the trigger from the Scotchman, and J-Lane sending it down the inside on Stark. Leaves the space on the outside. Great racing between the two of them. Looking in the mirrors, and there's a McLaren darting one way and then the other. Trying to slalom his way through, but nothing doing. Gets the switch back though on the medium tyres. And through goes the McLaren. I believe that is a $1.20 because Miller at this point was pretty far behind, I think. Or that might even be Miller, I'm not sure. There you go. Clean racing. Lovely little switchback for the McLaren. I enjoyed that very much. Back to me. I'll quickly tell you, J-Lane sending through all of the clips on the DMs, by the way. Absolute legend. Thank you, mate. That is very, very much appreciated. The second thing I said was a proper livery editor with creative control. I mean, the F1 community has been crying out for this for ages, it feels like, especially the career mode side of things. I get why they aren't, well, console people, I mean, like, we haven't had it. PC people do. I'm not traditionally a PC person. I do use it for commentary, but I don't use it as my daily driver. I have an Xbox. And that means I can't have nice things. A proper livery editor with creative control. I get why they aren't shoveling this out. Like I said in the Blackout chat, it would render the podium pass completely obsolete, pretty much. And the thing is, I wouldn't mind if it was like locked behind something, like completing a full season of driver career mode. You get that as a reward, or winning the Drivers' Championship. You get that as a reward. Whatever, that's fine. It's not completely unachievable. You can, if you want to, get it a very easy way, or you can actually complete and work for it, and then you get a nice livery editing option at the end of it. I think that'd be great. You know, it's means to an end. The podium pass has been a disaster, in my opinion. So I think just like make unlocking things a means to an end as opposed to just an XP system, which is locked behind Pitcoin. What a stupid name. A livery creating community like Forza Horizon would be wonderful. If it were implemented as an unlockable feature, then that's fine, but an actual fully customizable livery that can be worked on and have your own flair added to is yes. Third one, classic cars. I didn't have much to say about these. I just said I have absolutely zero idea why these were shelved. And for supercars, of all things, let's put it this way, no one would have used supercars if classic cars were still in the game. But supercars are now gone as well. So there you go. There's not much other than that to say. Bring back classic cars. The other honourable mention I had, and I feel like this could be a little bit of a groundbreaking thing here, because I think the handling itself is actually could be in a decent place. The main problem is that there's too much grip. I think, I said here, overall grip is too high on F124 and needs to be toned down. I have a suspicion that some of the handling foibles might be cured even more if the grip was toned down to more accurately match real-life speed and data. So that's just my opinion. There you go. J-Lane and Magico now is sending through a clip as well. He's sending through the Monaco start that he had. So I will get to that in a second. I'll react to these clips and then I will head off and out and bid you all a farewell, unless more clips come through, in which case I'll just have to react to them. So, next clip from Mr. J-Lane. It's not on my screen currently, but here we go. So, in P5 currently, Milo right on his coattails, and with DRS, surges on past the Alfa Romeo driver. Into turn one he goes. And they both hit the anchors at the correct time. Milo hits the wall on the outside, though. Rear right clips that, and J-Lane says, I'll send that one down the inside. Thank you, sir. Nothing doing, though, but a ballsy bit of opportunism. I do love to see it. And that will do. That will do in terms of that clip. Very nice. So, back to me, just quickly, as we now head on to the next of the J-Lane clips. And that is, watch, the overtake had to stick. Did it? Let's find out. Oh no! I've switched windows by mistake. Anywho, right. The overtake had to stick on Mr. Milo, says J-Lane, although maybe it was on buck 20. Through goes Milo on the penultimate lap, onto the final lap of the race now. J-Lane goes down the inside, has to slam on the anchors at the last possible opportunity, but that is ultimately what sealed P5 at this race. And Stark, actually, got P2 in this race, was so close to getting P1, must have been insanely close. Oh my goodness me, J-Lane trying to go through now on Milo, looked to the outside, but there just was not enough time to make it stick. And so that was how it finished in the land of Timothy Lane. That is very nice indeed. J-Lane also sending his double Monaco overtake. I'm going to look forward to that one very much. Next up, though, it's Magico, and we go from the land of Streamable to TwitchCon. Here we go. My face is blocking my husband's, I do apologise, but here's the start. A decent little start there.
Oh no!
As he does hit the back of J-Lane, but then goes round the outside of buck 20,
Everybody was just going really
deploying
fast
the
behind him,
battery
like, please
all the
no.
way through, up the hill, and there's front wing damage on Mr. Milo.
Fuck's sake, man.
As he
Yeah, he made it first on the
slams
Perez.
into the back of him
Oh,
and
sorry,
slam into Milo. As a result, he's been absolutely
like, I don't know what to do,
pirouetted.
like,
It's chaos in the
that
first
should
few
have been a safety
corners
car.
here.
Or a
That
virtual
did
at
get
least.
decently ugly. It's now
You
he's
know
now
what's
hit the back of
happening.
buck
Magic's gonna get
20.
wobbling and then
Sorry, I'm gonna be.
Yeah, you clipped the inside.
There has been no composure on display, but it was an insane start. I do have to grant you that. And so J-Lane is sending through a double overtake at the Monaco Grand Prix. Oh, here we go. We're processing this video. Check back later. Can't tell me what to do. I'm going to keep refreshing until it is processed then. Because I'm persistent. Ha! Told you. Right. Start of the race. Here he goes. Got a decent little start. The McLaren was already in fine fettle. Terziak had a bit of a wobble up ahead. That meant here comes J-Lane through on the McLaren. No avenue opening up on the Red Bull. It got a bit feisty for a brief moment, but he's into P3. Then darting into the right-hander, Thanasi hits the inside wall. Terziak even was all out of sorts. J-Lane tries to go around the outside for the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. Doesn't quite make it stick, but I'll tell you what, that was almightily close to the ultimate prize on the first lap as well. Kept the most composure, and that's exactly what you need to do at the Monaco Grand Prix. There you go. Those were the clips. Those were a joy to watch, it must be said. Thank you very much, everybody, for sending it across. I am very, very happy. Very, very happy to see all of that. There you go, everybody. I'm just scrolling through to see if there was anything else on offer. But that will do it, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes another week of the Blackout Racing League. I apologise, I was on a bit late. Like I said, I had a relatively important commentary meeting. It was a fun meeting. And I look forward to the footballing season ahead with St Albans. And not only that, I look forward to all of the commentaries with the Blackout Racing League and all other commentaries besides. Speaking of which, thank you very much to Blackout for letting me commentate. As always, it is an honour and a privilege to do this for you every single week. And as I've always said, my Monday evenings, I would not have them any other way. And that is just the simple and honest truth. If you did enjoy this broadcast of the Blackout Racing League, hit that follow button. Why haven't you already? I see some of you haven't hit the follow button, and I'm very upset. Hit that follow button right now. Also check out my other socials, which you will see on screen in a minute. I have Twitter and Instagram handles on there. Normally they're just at KarlsCars if you need to find me on pretty much any social media. So go there, find me, follow me, see what I'm up to. Don't post much on Twitter. Instagram's probably your best bet. All of this will be uploaded, obviously, as a VOD on Twitch, but also over on my YouTube channel. So go and subscribe to it, firstly, and then go and watch all of this again, and then all of the Blackout commentaries previous on the commentary playlist on my channel. You can catch up with all of the seasons on F1 23 and all of the future broadcasts as well. But onto the standby screen we go. And ladies and gentlemen, this was made by Magico, and it's absolutely fantastic. And anyone saying anything otherwise is going to get absolutely rammed with my fist through their face before you try and make it any more heinous and disgusting than it otherwise would have been. But that concludes the Blackout Racing League once and for all. If you did enjoy, like I say, hit that follow button. A huge thank you to Blackout as always. Thank you to J-Lane and Magico for sending me clips so I could catch up with some of the chaos in an otherwise very chaotic week of Blackout. The 335% race week is done and dusted. The question of whether we move to F1 24 next week remains to be seen. I am also aware the title of this is Qatar. I appreciate that that is completely and utterly wrong. I'm going to change that before it ends. There we go, I've done it. Sear Forest, you are very, very welcome indeed. It's an honour and a privilege. And thank you for watching. Like I say, it's an honour, it's a privilege. I wouldn't have anything any other way. So there you are. A filthy beat drop. I'm bopping. You should be bopping along to it as well. And next week, you know what, next week, where are we off to? That's a great question that I heard no one ask. We're off to Vegas. Oh, good grief, it's a sprint. It's a sprint at Vegas, and you know what happened last time there was a sprint at Vegas? There was some bowling going on at the first corner, and it was quite entertaining. So we all have that to look forward to. And then a 50%er round Japan. Now, who won at Vegas last season? It was not me. It was Buck20, actually. He also got the fastest lap in that race. Quite a chaotic one. Me and Thanasi came to blows once. He then let me through, and then we both worked together to make our way up. And then it all sort of fell apart from there. For reasons I can't quite work out for Thanasi, I ended up finishing P4. Magico ended P5. It was a great race for us as a team. Japan, I won last season. I had to come back from a drive-through penalty because I'm a fool. But I did end up winning and with fastest lap. So it ended pretty well. But enough about me winning races last season. I have to go through all of them. I have to actually stream myself going through all of those races. But that will be for another day. Thank you all very, very much for watching. Tune in next week. Same time as it always is for Blackout at 8 PM. Next time out, we go to Vegas, where people will try their luck. Bet it all on a certain colour. Hopefully, they place their cards on the table. Well, they've got to play them close to their chest in order to garner the best result. But have the confidence to move up quickly. Then it's Japan. Who knows what will happen? All I have to say now is thank you all for watching. And until next week, goodbye.